She is a market development manager for Amcor, which is a global packaging company with international customers such as Pepsi. Throughout her career, she has lived in many different cities across the U.S. She has won multiple international marketing awards and has made herself a name within the bottling world, which is mostly dominated by males, so that in itself is awesome. Although she's very successful at this point, less than a decade ago, Latricia would have never pictured herself in the position that she's in now. And so today she has come to give us a dose of inspiration and share her story with us. Please help me welcome Latricia.
My background, I don't think, is very different than a lot of you sitting here today, but it is special because it's mine. So I'll share that with you. I was born to a single teenage mother who really didn't know what she wanted to do in life. So imagine having a baby at 17. My grandmother, who took me in and raised me. It's not always easy. My grandmother was a single parent. She was a waitress. So you can imagine we did not have the wealthy lifestyle or even the middle income, America lifestyle. So grew up in poverty. I didn't have a lot of insight going through school myself as far as what avenues were available to me. And because my grandmother didn't know about a lot of these programs, I didn't know a lot about these programs. So what did I do? I fell back on what I was raised in, which was waitressing, and did that, and pretty much made some really bad decisions. Ended up homeless at 19, 20 years old, and then ended up pregnant. Sleeping in my car, sleeping on top of pool tables and bars, just borrowing, showers from friends and doing what I could. I wrote a lot of hot checks to eat, and so you can imagine, it was not a pretty time. So I packed up everything and moved to Florida, and was 3 months pregnant at the time and didn't know what I was going to do, and went and, like a lot of people, thought that I would go ahead and just dissolve that and take care of that and try to move on and make better choices. But I couldn't do it. So I decided that I would place for adoption instead. I remember being in the hospital and that first night holding her and just asking for a sign from somewhere that I could keep her and make this work. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, you know what happens when you ask for a sign. You never get one. So I signed the papers, walked out the door with basically everything I owned, which was the clothes on my back. And it was pretty miserable. And found myself a year later waking up on her birthday in a jail cell. I thought pretty much being homeless and pregnant was bottom. There's always a further way to go. There's always a deeper level you can fall. I said when I woke up that morning that I would not do it again. And I was determined that every decision that I made afterwards would be a decision that would make her proud. I moved back to Texas and again fell into not bad people, not bad environment, but waitressing, bartending, cooking, the same thing, and I'm never going to get out of this. So I took a job telemarketing. If you guys have ever done telemarketing, you know it is the most horrible job besides collections. I did that for 3 years. I sold everything from siding to the New York Times to long distance to anything. I sold internet websites. 3 years, and I cried every day I went to work, but I did it. Every day I went for 3 years, and I taught myself everything I could. I got on computers. I didn't know anything about computers before I started telemarketing. I got on computers, I got on the internet, I taught myself how to use Office programs, Word, Excel, went to the library, dived into books, and did everything I could to learn all that stuff. And so 3 years, fast forward, I got a job as a receptionist. It's okay to start at the bottom. It's a start, and that's really all that matters. So did the receptionist work, and it wasn't long that I just kept moving up and moving up. Went from knowing nothing about computers to actually working in IT and building computers and installing software. And 9/11 happened, I got laid off. Got a job doing some temporary work, and I was working full-time doing temp work during the day. I was working full-time at night bartending, and I enrolled in community college. And so that's when I started taking college classes and said, okay, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it now. Because I know that getting a degree and getting an education to support what I already knew was going to help elevate me professionally. And then I got a job at a very small children's toothbrush company called Zooth. I'll never forget it because I didn't know anything about kids. And here I was working on children's products. And then we were bought by Procter & Gamble, so I left and went to work for Pepsi. Did a lot of marketing roles and sales roles with Gillette and Pepsi, and then now I'm here where I am today at Amcor. I did graduate in 2006 with my bachelor's in business, and I graduated with honors. But I was able to do a lot of that without having that degree. And I think that professionally, there are some things that I can share with you that I did that might help you as you start to, grow your careers as well. The first thing that I wrote down is always know your 30-second commercial. You get 30 seconds. Sometimes you don't even get that to impress somebody. And so always know it. Always have it ready, because you never know who you're going to meet, where you're going to meet them, and when. You got to be able to sell yourself. Have your commercial, but sell yourself. Believe it. Know what values you are or have and possess, and that you can bring to the table and sell it. Market it. Nobody's going to sell it but you. Don't undersell or undervalue yourself. If you know that your skill set is worth $40,000, don't undervalue it by going at 30. Be able to negotiate with the people that are hiring you. Don't be afraid to ask for it. That's another thing. We always get afraid to ask for it. I know I was, because I never felt that I was worth it. It took me years to understand my value and know that I was worth it. I was always willing to do more for less until I understood my value. There are ways to present it by using facts, by using examples and data to be able to negotiate your value and what you're worth. Be sure you network. And networking with women is always a good thing, because we know as women it's very difficult to work in an environment with a lot of men, but then also with women. I know I have sometimes cringed when I had a female boss, right? It's not always easy, but it's okay. Only you can manage your career. Only you can do that. Don't ever expect someone that you're reporting to manage your career. Now, they will be, a good mentor, and they will help you, but it's not their job to manage your career. It's your job. Find mentors within your organization. Look for a mentor that's not someone you're reporting to. My receptionist job, I started off at $14,000 a year, which you guys know is, poverty level It's not, but it was, back then, it was better than waitressing, right? And now I'm 6 figures a year. I would rather have someone that has the knowledge and skill set than someone that has a degree. The piece of paper at the end of the day doesn't mean anything. If you can do the work and do the job and you have passion and you show that passion to the people that you work for, that's what matters. There's always different ways that you can respond. You can feed it. Keep feeding the fire, right? You can back away from it and say, I don't want to talk to you about that kind of stuff. And then you're the person they're talking about next, right? But at the end of the day, I have always had this saying, because I have been the butt of many jokes. And that's okay. As long as they're talking about me, they're giving somebody else a break. Right? If they're talking about me, they're giving somebody else a break, that's fine. Because I know, it's hard. It's really not that easy, I'll be honest with you. But there are proper ways you can say, I find that this conversation is not productive and not professional, and I'd rather focus my attention on getting the job done. So if you want to talk to me about some ways that maybe we can do that, then I'm more than happy to stand here and continue to talk with you. But I just want to make sure that it's productive. I just made the comment this week, last week before I left. Yeah, I'm going to St. Louis. They've asked me to speak at this professional women's group. I don't know why. I'm not special, And then I was like, oh, yes, I am, right? Yes, I am. Yeah. So, thank you. But it's really hard to get into the mindset to start thinking differently about yourself, especially when you are continually living in a cycle of poverty. When that's all you see and all you know, breaking that is not easy. It's hard. But I think it takes a lot of courage to be able to do something like that. And it took me a long time to realize that I could be proud of myself for that. So how did I do it? Right? Making better friends. My grandmother had always told me growing up, be careful who you pick as friends, right? Because if you hang out with this kind of group, people are going to think you're this kind of way. Boy, I wish I would have listened to her. But she was wise and let me make my own mistakes, right? So, pick better friends. And then know your value. And then start raising your value. I just got tired of being a waitress. I got tired of cleaning up everybody's stuff. And I got tired of never being able to do what I wanted to do. I got tired of not being able to go to Florida to see my daughter. I made that a priority. What did I need to do to make more money so that I could go see my daughter? Your past does not always dictate your future. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to.